Setting up the press, the first thing I do is to put the legs on the press to raise the height of it. Although these are included in your kit, you don't have to use them, but I always do because I find it much easier to get a bucket with a funnel underneath, and more particularly a barrel, which I normally press into. So I do put the legs on. They're very easy to put on, as you can see, and they do make it much easier overall. So now we're going to take the lid off the press, ready to put the liner in. So in your mesh bag you will find the liner for the press, and you're going to feed that down inside the stainless steel cylinder, feeding it around the edge of the bladder and folding the fabric over the top of the cylinder. Then you'll turn the cylinder over so that there's fabric folded under the bottom of it, and then fold the excess fabric over the top. You want to make sure the cylinder is sat squarely on the press base and it's ready then to be loaded. The next stage is to make sure your hose is connected up. So brass connector end on the press and the hose lock connector to your tap or your hose. Before you start adding pulp to your press, you will want to make sure you have a container to collect the juice, which will start running freely as soon as you start adding the pulp. So here you can see I'm setting up a funnel with the filter so that we can filter the juice as it comes off the press. So this is the insert that will sit in the funnel, and then the funnel will be sat in the top of the barrel. You don't normally get a barrel with your kit, so the barrel is supplied with the bottling kit only. So if you have a regular kit, you will either want to hold the funnel under the spout on the press, or you will want to rig up some method of holding the funnel over the top of the bucket, which if I have to do that, I will generally do with a piece of string, anything to make it a little bit easier. And if I haven't got the bottling kit, I will be pressing into one of the 40-litre flexi tubs that are included in your kit. So loading the press itself is relatively easy. You can use the scoop supplied in your kit, and the main aim with the press loading is to do it evenly. So make sure that you're not knocking the stainless steel cylinder off centre as you're loading, and make sure that you're getting pulp all around the edge of the bladder. Once your bucket is empty enough, you can then pour the remains of the pulp in. Again, make sure that you load it evenly around the bladder and press it down, pack it in so that it's well loaded. Make sure that the fabric doesn't get dragged down into the press as you go, so you might want to keep pulling it up a little bit, and you just keep packing it in until it's fully loaded. When it is, you can then fold the fabric over the top of the press before you put the lid on and screw it down, putting the washer on first and then doing up the wing nut. Now you can turn your tap on, checking the taps at the bottom so that the emptying one is closed and the filling is open. Then press your air release valve at the top to ensure that there's no air left in the bladder and it can fill freely with water. Have the tap on at a steady flow so that you get the best yield from your pressing. You're expecting around about a 50% yield all told, so from a 40-litre press that will be approximately 20 litres, give or take. And then when you reach the end of your pressing, you will find that the juice will stop, and you may find that water will start flowing from the overflow point at the bottom of the press. That's the point to turn the tap off. When a pressing has finished and you want to remove the pulp, this is often the easiest way to do this. So easing up the stainless steel cylinder to enable the fabric to be folded under the pulp either side. It really helps to have two people doing this, as you can see here in the video. So if you ease that fabric all the way round, and then as you'll see shortly, they will lift the whole lot up in one go, trying to leave as little of the pulp on the press as is possible. Almost missed it there. And coming up and dropping it in a waiting bucket as we've got here. So liner then has to be emptied out, which you can see Freya doing now. And then you can get it ready for the next pressing. The pulp itself makes very good compost. Pigs love it apparently. Sheep don't mind it. So one way or another, I'm sure you'll find a handy use for your dry pulp. And your press, once it's cleaned off, will be either ready to set up to press your next lot or ready to hose down when you've finished pressing completely.